Everyone has a story, and your unique story is designed to serve as a powerful adventure for connecting with a deeper sense of clarity, purpose, and meaning on your life's journey so that you better understand three simple things. The first is direction, which is about where you are going in your life. The second is about assignment, which is about what you should focus on doing. And then the third is purpose, which is your reason why you do what you do. Hi, I'm Conrad L. Jones. I'm the author of the book Reengage and the founder of PurposeUnleashed.com, where we help people live the best versions of who they are born to be. In this session, I'm going to walk you through three powerful steps for finding meaning, clarity, and purpose from your unique life story in 30 minutes or less. So let's start with something that's really important. If you haven't yet realized it, your unique life story is an untapped reserve of wisdom, power, insight, and experiences, which is designed to be your personal rocket boosters, pushing you towards the fulfillment of your destiny, your happiness, and your success. You and I both know that success is defined as different things to different people, right? But I like the definition by Dr. Tony Evans, which says success is not what you do as compared to what someone else is doing, but rather success is what you do compared to what you should be doing in your life. Stories are so powerful that psychologists now tells us that there are six major reasons why we love stories, and they work so well to help us to understand life. Here's just one of these major reasons. Dr. Pamela Rutledge on psychologytoday.com says that stories are how we naturally think and how we make sense of life. And there are 7 ways that story helps us to make sense of life. And I put a link below this video to the infographic with all of them. So for brevity, I'll just talk about 2 quick examples. The first is stories help us explain how things work. If you're like me, I like the Discovery Channel. They have a TV series called How Stuff Works, which I just love watching as they take you through this process of how we literally make everything in our world, from cars to planes to beverages, etc. And it's exciting to watch the story of how beverages such as iced tea starts with the tea leaves in the field and ends up on the store shelves or on the kitchen table. The Food Network also has a series called Unwrapped, which shows us how the stuff we eat almost every day is made step by step. And so stories help us to explain how things work in our world. The second thing is that stories help us to understand our place and where we fit in the world. Now, if you've ever read or watched the Bible story of Joseph, what you would find is you would meet a young man who is the 11th of 12 sons, who for most of his life, he's struggling to find his place in the world. And it isn't until Joseph has been betrayed by his brothers and sold into slavery, and he is falsely accused by his slave master's wife and thrown into prison. And then in that place, he shares his God-given gift with the Pharaoh, and he becomes the prime minister of Egypt, that he begins to understand. He looks back over his life story and he suddenly understands that he was destined to save both his family and the nation of Egypt. Joseph didn't really understand his place in the world until he connected with his story and his journey. So stories help us to understand our place in the world. So my question is, what is your story? And more importantly, are you using your story as a powerful resource and a tool to supercharge your life and to take it really to the next level? If you've never heard my story before and why I do what I do, here's the short version of it. You see, a few years ago, I was frustrated, I was disappointed, and I was discontent with my life because I was really, really struggling badly with finding a clear sense of direction and purpose for myself. And things came to a head shortly after I had a near-death boating experience in which I was knocked overboard, smacked in the middle of strong ocean currents, and after fighting for what seemed like hours, I became too tired and I sank beneath the waves one final time. It was at that moment that as I started to drift into unconsciousness, that three questions came into my mind. The first question I had was, could I have done more with my life? The second question was, could I have been more? And the third question was, could I have experienced more? And it was in those moments that shock and horror came upon me because I realized I had no real answers to those questions. And I had nothing to show for my time that was spent on the earth. Well, somehow I knew that things couldn't end like this. I couldn't leave and not experience what I could have done with my life. And it was in those moments that I found new strength and I began to fight again to get to the surface. I, at the time, felt hands grab me and two guys jumped in to rescue me and they pulled me from the water. And I was given another chance to demonstrate that I can do more with my life. Now, maybe you might be one of those guys that's watching this. And I've never gotten a chance to really thank them because I never knew who they were. They came in, they helped me, and then I never saw them again. But if that's you and you're watching this, I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for risking your life to save mine that day because it gave me another chance to demonstrate that I can do more with my life. So today, my reason why I do what I do is based on getting another chance to use my life as a benefit and a blessing to others. And that's why I write books and I share ideas and I speak at events and I consult with people and businesses and churches. And I do all of this simply because I was given another chance to maximize my life to have positive impact on the world around me using what God gave me to give away. So my question is, what about you? What has God given you to give away that you have a chance to maximize to be able to be a benefit and a blessing to someone else and those people that's around you? The point is that you don't really need a near-death experience to find direction and purpose on your life's path. You see, I've figured out that many times all we all need is a little more clarity on moving forward step by step. And that oftentimes the way you look at your own unique life story can provide more clarity on your direction, on your assignment, and your purpose. On your life's journey, you can be one of two types of people. And this is really interesting. You can be a pebble person or you can be a putty person. Now, I like learning from smart people. And I learned this simple lesson from the writer and author Steve James in his book, Story Trumps Structure. Steve said that pebble people are similar to pebbles in that if you take a pebble and you throw it against the wall, it bounces off the wall unchanged. If you throw pebble people into different experiences, they often bounce off unchanged. However, if you take a ball of putty and you throw it hard enough against the wall, it changes shape. And when you throw putty people into different experiences, the experiences many times often change who they are. Now, we all have many different experiences, and not all of them are transformative ones. So here is something really powerful. I don't personally believe that you should choose between being a pebble person or a putty person. What I do believe is that you should really be a little bit of both. You see, but you should use wisdom to know in various life situations when to become like the pebble or when to actually become like the putty. Here's what I mean. There are seasons on your journey when you should be a pebble person, when you have experiences that you simply bounce off and keep moving forward. In your momentive season, and I call it your momentive season, your progressive season moving forward, when you're faced with negative criticisms and you're dealing with dream destroyers, which are people who try to kill your dreams before your dreams has a chance to grow by telling you what and why things can't and won't work. You need to be able to bounce back from those experiences and to keep moving forward in your life. And so, in your momentum seasons, when you're faced with challenges and negative things that seek to destroy what you're trying to build, you need to be a pebble person where you bounce off the experience and you keep moving. And then there are transformative seasons in life when those experiences should be allowed to impact you, to reshape your thinking and your perspective, and to begin to shift you in the direction of better happiness and success. So let hanging out with me today be a transformative season for you in your life. So, okay, let's talk about those 3 powerful steps for finding meaning, clarity, and purpose from your unique life story in 30 minutes or less. When you look at stories, all stories have 3 basic elements or components. The story has the launch or the beginning of the story. A story has the journey or the middle of the story. And a story has the landing or the ending of the story. So let's start with a quick overview and examples of the entire process. And then we will look at each phase and break them down into simple steps to walk you through how to quickly script out your own story so that you can use it to connect with a deeper sense of clarity and meaning in your own life. All stories, including mine and yours, have those 3 phases that we just talked about: the launch, the journey, the landing, or the beginning, the middle, and the ending. So here's a classic example from the Bible. In Genesis chapter 1, it says, "In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And then he made man and woman and put them in this beautiful garden that's called paradise." Well, that is the beginning or the launch of the story. Something interesting here is that the story doesn't end there. It continues with the man and the woman as they are about to take a journey. You see, God tells them not to eat of one tree in the garden, and they obeyed and they live happily ever after, and everything is right with the world, right? No, that's wrong. Okay. Actually, what we see is we see conflict entering the story. The serpent enters the picture and he promises them the opportunity to be just like God if they ate the fruit. So man chooses to listen to the serpent, and the battle of good versus evil continues today, even in the hearts and the minds of men. And as we know it, it will one day come to its final conclusion, right? Now, here is something important. You don't have an interesting story unless something goes wrong and needs to be corrected, unless something gets broken and needs to be fixed, etc. Because the real story is about the journey between the problem and the solution. It's about the journey between the launch and the landing. It's the in-between that gives all the details, that shows the struggle, that shows the triumph, and shows how the character is affected and transformed by what they experience. And so the interesting part of the story is the journey between the start and the ending. And this brings us to the 3rd point of stories, which is the landing. The landing is about how do things end. So from the Bible's example, we understand that in the end, good triumphs over evil. So at its most basic level, all stories are about transformation being unveiled. Either the transformation of a situation, or most commonly, the transformation of a character or a person. Many times, it's about the transformation of a character in a situation who gains the strength, the wisdom, and the courage to change the situation itself. So the landing happens when you have reached a different, a higher, and a better place in your life because of the journey that you've been on. So, as we said earlier, what happens between the launch and the landing of your story, or the journey that happens in between the start and the ending, is often where the real story takes place, and how you are changed because of that story, hopefully for the better. And this is where clarity and meaning comes from in your everyday life. Now, just for the sake of clarity, I want you to understand that as we talk about your story, We are not referencing your entire life story. Rather, we are talking about a specific place on your journey. So, to be clear, when we are thinking about your story, don't start with from birth to the present. Start with a specific place that you are looking to gain clarity and understanding from. So, here's how to do that right now. Grab a pen and paper and begin to simply script the launch, the journey, and the landing of a specific experience or storyline within your life. And when you have done this, begin to think through the lessons that you've learned and the wisdom you have gained and how that experience has given you an added advantage in your life. This is how you begin drawing more clarity and meaning and purpose from your life story. I hope you enjoyed this session as much as I have. If you're on Facebook, don't forget to like our page. And if you're on YouTube, subscribe to our channel so that you get notified as soon as I release more fresh content. Also, you can find more resources over at our website, purposeunleashed.com. This is Conrad L. Jones saying, live your life purposefully, passionately, and uniquely great. And have a wonderful day, and see you in the next episode.